Frank Satowski, you win Worst Father of the Year. As a matter of fact, you win Father of the Year for being the worst father of the year. Maggie had everything lined up. She had the bag lined up. You had to go back and check the toilet, right? You had to snoop around the compound in New Hampshire instead of just sitting your ass down, enjoying the wedding. So what? She was getting her back blown out by the father. She had everything locked in. Your sister had shares of capacity. You was about to get more shares of capacity. More shares than your sister got at capacity. You wanted to meet the moms for what? Why are you snooping around? People ended up dead at the compound, y'all. People ended up dead at the compound. Somebody killed themselves at the compound. Somebody was getting drugged, and I mean sexually, at the compound. All of this stuff happened in Jason Rekulak's last one at the wedding. I just hate Frank, man. Like, he's a father that I hate. I hate him. But we're gonna go through the critique rubric questions real quick, and hopefully that little synopsis, and I ain't really want to go too far within the book, but hopefully it made you want to get into the book. It's a good thriller, and I'll tell you how many bookmarks I gave it at the end. First, we're gonna go with plot and storyline. Originality. Is the plot unique, or does it have a fresh take on the thriller genre? And I think Jason Rekulak definitely answered that question. It's a long book, but it's an intriguing long book. He breaks down everything you need to know and why it happened. From the time Maggie invited Frank up to Boston when he went to the condo, to the time where he went to New Hampshire and he was getting all of this treatment, all of this good treatment, was literally a setup for him to just shut the F up. Shut the F up, Frank. But I think he wrote this. It's an original story. I've read a lot of thriller books, and I haven't really read one like this yet. Coherence. Does the plot make sense and follow? Oh my God, it follows logical progression. Like, as this book progresses, more secrets get unveiled. From Frank finding out what's going on with Maggie, to Frank talking to Aiden's mother, to Frank finding Aiden's dad punishing. I don't even want to give the book away, but yes, it follows logical progression. Conflict and resolution. The conflict in this book was crazy. I was not expecting it. Jason Rekulak wrote from a place that he had to be in, like, a dark room. Like, the conflict was insane. I wasn't expecting it. And when you find out what Maggie is doing, when you find out what she's trying to achieve, you kind of root for her, because it's the classic come up, right? I'm doing this because I'm coming up. All of this facade, all of this other stuff is a front, right? But the real stuff is taking place behind the scenes, like it is in mad corporations. People sleeping with the boss, you know what I mean, to get where they need to go. And the resolution, I ain't like the resolution at the end, man. Poor Maggie. But it does represent the conflict and the resolution in this book. Pacing, I would say pacing, it was too slow in the beginning. You really gotta read through. And shout out to Miss Squash, because me and her kind of went through this book around the same time, and she was like, oh, it feels so slow. She hated it. So I feel like if you're looking for the hit you thrillers, the Frida McFadden thrillers that kind of come at you quick, this is not one of those things. It needed to take its time. It's a well thought out book. It's a well sectioned book. And when you follow it, it's slow in some parts, but it makes sense later on. So for plot and storyline, I'll give it a 3.5. And we follow the bookmarks. So how they used to do it in the magazines, if I haven't explained it before. Remember in the XXL, the Source magazines, where your album gets rated and it goes 1 through 5? On the mics, they give you 1 through 5. So how we doing it is here, we giving it 5 bookmarks. So for plot and storyline, I'm gonna go with a 3.5 for the bookmarks. Next, we have character development. Do the characters evolve throughout the story? Hell yeah. You get to see what happened with Aiden and how much stuff he took. You get to see what Maggie and what Frank went through. Like, I feel like he wrote each character, except for the mother. I didn't really like her. She kind of blew me a little bit. But I think that he wrote good from a standpoint to make the characters believable, because believe it or not, this happens in corporations all the time. And if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Which brings it to believability. Like, the characters are very much real. They're very much believable, and their actions are realistic. And if you know, right? So these things happen every day. Like, it's literally just happened with Fox Sports News. So if you know what happened in Fox Sports News, then you know what I'm talking about. Joy Taylor, right? Joy Taylor, Lord have mercy. But again, these things happen. So again, if I'm telling you this and I'm saying Joy Taylor, this should let you know, like, slide over. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the characters and relating to the characters, I can, because Maggie takes us on a journey. When you find out Maggie's plan and how she deployed her plan, how she had her little backup in the toilet, you know. And Frank Frank, you a hating ass dude, bro. I swear you a hating dude. So the relatability is definitely up there. You can relate to all the characters in their journeys. The complexity, for the sake of a good thing, you won't know what the motivations of the characters are until you read the book. And then you can come back and be like, oh yeah, I know what the motivations are. We know what Maggie's motivations are. We know what Frank's motivations are, but everybody around them got motivations. So for characters, I would give this a 4.5. I would give this a 4.5. All right, so now we get into the setting and the world building. And I feel like the stage is set because it's a girl that's missing. And it's always a girl that's missing, right? It's a drunk uncle at the bar telling Frank, well, your daughter getting married to Aiden Gardner. Well, you should stay away from that family. My niece is missing. So it's a girl missing, and it's always a girl missing. So the world building as Frank leaves from Pennsylvania and he's heading to New Hampshire, you understand like, okay, it's a girl missing. She died. She was dating Aiden. She died. Now what happens, right? So Frank is like, okay, all of this stuff is going on. It has to be something in between all of that. So I felt like that was the world building that he was doing. That's what gave Frank the inclination to kind of start snooping around and looking around for clues and trying to find out what Aiden Gardner was going through and, you know, the whole Gardner family, but even the lawyer. So in that setting, I feel like the clarity is the setting well described and easy to visualize. Yes, a compound. Think about it. When you get to like the back roads in New Hampshire, and I'm not really too familiar with the New Hampshire area, but if you get to the back and you start to, you know, go to camping grounds and you start to see like, oh my God, this is owned by the the Gardner family. Their CEO, the dad is the CEO at capacity. So of course it's going to look rich. It's going to look fancy. That's why they want the wedding down there. So I felt like he built a lot of the world building in this because they went from Philly to Boston to New Hampshire. So he painted like a real big picture. And I think that he did an awesome job. Does the setting contribute significantly to the story? It had to, right? You at a campground, a couple people come up missing, somebody's already missing. So like the setting was just perfect. So if I think for setting and world building, I'm gonna give that one a 5. So I think Jason set that up perfect. Themes and ideas, how deeply does the book explore its themes? The rich stay rich and the poor stay poor, man. Sometimes you gotta sleep your way to the No. You ain't. Execution. Are the themes integrated into the story smoothly, or do they feel forced? Nothing felt forced in the book because he thought out this whole book. I don't know what he was thinking about, but the way he wrote the book, the execution of the book for themes and ideas, everything flowed smooth. Nothing felt forced. Nothing felt like it was stuck. And at no point did you feel like, all right, he's repeating these whole things, everything over and over again. You know what I mean? For themes and ideas, everything was fresh. Everything moving forward. It was like moving forward, fresh idea. We never went back to, oh, he talked about this already. It was like everything was moving progressively, but it was with fresh and new ideas. So I think for themes and ideas in this critique rubric, I think he nailed it. So I give that one a 4. Writing style. Now we get into the good stuff. Voice. Is the author's voice distinctive and appropriate for the story? Frank, I hate you. And that should tell you right there for the writing style. If I can literally walk away from a book saying that I hate this character, then that should give you like real implication that his writing style was amazing. Frank's voice was cool, and the clarity and the tone, like I felt like his tone did match the intention of the book. Very clear. Like, and for me, the target audience, thriller consumers, you know, we hate Frank. Well, at least I hated Frank, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I hated Frank. So from the writing style standpoint, I feel like Jason set out and he accomplished, and that's why I get writing style for me was a 5. Dialogue, authenticity. Does the dialogue sound natural and believable? Hell yeah. I just told you, I just gave you the Fox Sports, you know, this literally just happened, but just killing. And the thriller aspect to it, secrets get unveiled, you know, everything comes to the light and everything like that. And then you'll have a great dialogue. Does the dialogue serve to move forward or develop characters? I just told you, in the writing style, everything was written to develop all the characters. And you see how Jason moved the characters around. He didn't keep them stagnant at all. He moved the characters. Everybody had their part to play. Everybody had a different role, and they progressed in their role. Like, everything smooth from beginning to end. For me, was smooth writing. Emotional engagement. Reading this book, I was super emotional because I'm like, how could a father drop the, I'm trying to do it without giving y'all everything, right? Because I want you to go and read the book. But how could a father put his daughter in a situation where she could wind up losing everything? I would never do that to my daughter. I'd be like, yo, listen, or my son. I would be like, listen, you know what you're doing. You grown. I'm not going to stay in your business. I might not think it's right, but I understand. You're going to secure the bag. You're going to do what you do. Listen, good luck to you. I just hope you know what you're doing. And move on, bro. She a grown woman. She don't need you. She not a little girl. She don't need you doing all this stuff for her, going out your way to solve the case. You're not a private detective, Frank. You're a UPS driver. Move on. Drop the package. It's 4 p.m. My package is supposed to leave at 12. Like, that's how I felt reading the book. So if you want to say, does this book elicit an emotional response such as joy, sadness, or anger? I was so sad for Maggie at the end of the book. I'm like, damn, Frank. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was so mad at Frank. Like, I feel like emotional engagement for me was a big one. And I'm going to give him a 5 on that one because reading the book, and I listened to this book when I was going to see the play Daniel at Sight and Sound in Pennsylvania. So I was actually already headed to Pennsylvania, and Frank was from Pennsylvania. So I just thought that was weird. I listened to the book majority in the car, and I read some when I got to the hotel. Listening to the book, man, I was so mad driving. I was like, yo, Frank need to just stop it, son. Like, just chill out. But he was in the way the whole time. So for me, was an emotional engagement. I gave that a 5. Now we can move down to the last 2 in the rubric, and we out here. I'm trying to keep it under 17 minutes. Enjoyment and entertainment value. Was this book engaging and able to hold the reader's attention? I don't know. I see mixed reviews. People don't like it because they feel like it's a little bit too long for a thriller. I think it was I think it did its job of how he wanted to explain this story. If you explain this story in any way, not that it won't be good, but I don't feel like I missed anything. Like, there's nothing that he left on the table. For me personally, I enjoyed it. It resonated with me emotionally and it held my attention. Now, there was some parts that I was like, all right, get on with it. No, but when you finish it and you go around and when you finish it, you like, when you close that book, you like, yo, he did his job. So for me, I felt like I liked it. I really think it was able to hold my attention, but I can understand why some readers, while reading the book, say it dragged, it lagged, especially on the back end when he went to go see Maggie at her new spot. If you read the book, you know what I'm talking about, at her new spot at the end of the book. I don't think he missed a beat, man. I don't know. Would you recommend this book to somebody like because the next one is recommendability. Is the book something the reviewers will recommend to others? If you're not a thriller fan, I wouldn't recommend this book to you. You would have to be deep nailed into the thriller genre in order to withstand some parts of this book. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm a thriller fan. I'm a thriller junkie. I love fantasy as well, but I just like thriller junkies. So for me, I would recommend this book, but only to a thriller fan. I wouldn't recommend it to somebody who reads fantasy books or reads murder mystery. They might get bored with this one because they won't see it through. You know, this is a book you got to see it through. So for enjoyment, rereadability, I don't think I would reread this book. I know everything about the book. I can literally tell you from beginning to end, from the middle, when they got to New Hampshire, when they got to the compound and they took Frank's phone and they did a whole bunch of stuff at the compound. So, but I don't feel like I would go back to it. So I'll give the enjoyment, entertainment value, I'll give it a 3. And the last one is overall impressiveness. Lasting impact. Will this book leave a lasting impression on the reader? It did. It left a lasting impression on me. So I'm a reader. So for me personally, yes, because I still hate Frank Zlotowski to this day. And I think my last words on my deathbed, hopefully in the very, very far future, would still be, I hope Frank Zlotowski is up there so I could knock him out. That's how I feel about Frank. Sorry. That's how I feel about Frank. He invokes so much in that character. To me, I want to fight Frank. If I see somebody named Frank, I might fight him. And Frank is never mind. We're not even going to get into all that. Does the book contribute anything new or noteworthy to the genre? No, I don't feel like it did. I feel like it was kind of just the same old, let me not say the same old thriller. It contributed a new noteworthy to thriller. It wasn't just bang, 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 thriller, like, like plot, like, you know how it is in thriller. It's like, oh, this turn, then another turn, another turn. Nah, we didn't get that Frida McFadden feeling. But slow your horses. This is one of them slower thrillers that you just gotta kind of go through. How well does the book fulfill its potential based on the above criteria? Overall, I'm gonna give this book a 3.5. For me, I gave the book a 3.5 out of 5 bookmarks, with 5 being the highest. So it's in the middle right there for me. It wasn't one of my favorite books, but I will continue to read from Jason Rekulak still moving forward, because if he gave me 4.5 from Hidden Pictures and he gave me 3.5, that's only a 1 point downgrade. So hopefully, he gonna come through with another bang. I already know it. But for me, the book was a 3.5. If you enjoyed the book, man, drop some comments below and let me know what you thought about the book, and let me know what kind of style do you want me to do y'all like for me? Do y'all like me to just tell y'all the book? I tried to do something different this time. I tried to give y'all a critique rubric to get readers to kind of go get the book and enjoy it for themselves and then come back and talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me just giving you the book, because I want readers who want to go read the book. Yeah, it's good to listen to the podcast. Don't get it twisted. But my aim is to show you that I read the book. So now I'm going to give you a little bit here and there, and hopefully that'll entice you to go and get the book. But I'm out of here, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. I kept this under 20 minutes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you feel like I missed anything or you want to further discuss the book, just hit me up in the comments, man, and we can chat and talk about it. This is Books with Rod. I'm Just Jay. I'm out.